Tonight, a teenage Spartan pokes a harpy with a pointy stick. I get hopelessly lost in a pixelated forest. And a legendary PlayStation icon learns how to jump. Poorly. When you hear the name Kratos, you usually think of earth-shattering, god-slaying, visceral ultraviolence, and breathtaking cinematic vistas. But what if, instead of that, you got a 2D Metroidvania where an angsty teenage Kratos maneuvers with all the aerodynamic grace of a falling refrigerator? Released for the franchise's 20th anniversary, this game takes us way back to the Agog. They stripped away our beloved Blades of Chaos, handed us a basic Spartan spear and shield, the Dory and Aspis, and told us to go solve a missing persons case with our brother Deimos. Now, the critics had a field day with this one. They called the combat underwhelming, the animations clunky, and the platforming stiff. It controls a bit like a shopping cart with a locked wheel. Naturally, upon hearing that this game was a frustrating, floaty departure from everything that makes God of War great, I immediately decided the only logical thing to do was to subject myself to every single pixel of it and grind out the Platinum Trophy. It is a bizarre, frustrating, yet strangely nostalgic journey. So grab your spear, equip your victory sandals, and let's see exactly what it takes to 100% the weirdest chapter in Kratos' history. Our grand tour of Laconia kicks off just outside the city gates of Sparta. True to the franchise's roots, the developers decided to start things off by throwing us straight into a boss battle against the Cyclopes. However, since Kratos is currently just an angsty teenager in training, your god-slaying toolkit is completely empty. All you have is the basic Vanguard combo. The Cyclops will throw simple, heavily telegraphed punches and kicks. You have 3 ways to handle this. You can block, which is a terrible idea because you still take chip damage. You can perfectly parry, which stuns him, though it is slightly useless right now since you haven't actually learned any counterattacks yet. Or, the most sensible option, you can just roll out of the way. Simply roll through his attacks, safely chip away at his health with your basic combo, and use this time to figure out the rhythm of this slightly stiff 2D combat system. Once you get the big guy down to 50% health, Kratos inevitably gets into trouble and has to be rescued by his brother Deimos. Deimos essentially comes flying in from the top rope with the Spartan equivalent of a steel chair, fully restoring your lost health in the process. With both brothers suddenly stabbing away at him, the Cyclops' remaining health melts in seconds. Finish him off by ripping his eye out, because some traditions must be respected. Claim your eye for an eye trophy, and let's move on.
This wasn't for any glory, you know. Except maybe the glory of Sparta.
For Sparta, then.
For Sparta, brother. Let's go home.
As you make your way through your first real excursion into the Laconian woods, you will start accumulating red orbs, or blood orbs as the game aggressively insists on calling them. These act as your traditional experience points, allowing you to learn new offensive and defensive techniques for your Dory spear and Aspis shield. By the time you are about halfway through the woods, you should have scraped together 500 of these red orbs. Once you do, make a pit stop at the nearest campsite to open up your skill menu. You can technically spend this hard-earned blood money on whatever you want, but I highly recommend grabbing Vanguard 2 right out of the gate. It provides a much needed enhancement to your basic attack combo, which makes your primary method of dealing damage feel a lot less like poking enemies with a toothpick and more like actual Spartan training. Purchase your first upgrade, watch the quick study trophy pop, and prepare to spend millions more of these orbs over the course of the game. After you finish dealing with those annoying thieving Cryptic to recover Konstantinos' chiseling tools, make sure you drop down the shaft and save your game at the campsite. You are going to need it, because the moment you step outside past the ruined statue head, you are ambushed by the Ioki, one of the Stymphalian birds, and your first proper boss fight. This is a massive step up in difficulty, but do not panic. It is essentially a pure pattern recognition test. The bird operates on a strict cycle of 3 attacks. First, a razor spin that you can easily roll right through. Second, a wind screech. Just stand directly underneath the bird and it will completely miss you. Finally, it uses a massive ground slam. You will know this is coming because the boss glows purple. This is an indefensible attack. You cannot block it and you cannot parry it. You have to jump or roll through the resulting shockwaves. The few seconds after this ground slam is your golden window to unleash your Vanguard combos. When you chip it down to 75% health, the Ioki will generously drop some health and magic orbs, but it will also also add a heavily telegraphed diagonal dive bomb into its rotation while chaining its other attacks. Keep your finger on the roll button and only attack after the last ground slam in its sequence. At 10% health, the boss absolutely panics. It will almost exclusively spam the dive bomb attack at high speed. Just stay calm, keep dodging, and wait for it to inevitably throw out one last ground slam. Punish it, and the fight is over. Deimos will finally arrive to help scare the big bird away. Grab your dropped chisel, claim your new razor plume, and watch the flying solo trophy unlock. Because poking mythological horrors with a basic, unupgraded stick gets old incredibly fast, you are going to want to start enhancing your gear as soon as humanly possible. This brings us to the self-sufficient trophy. Upgrading a spear or shield part in this game requires three things: a healthy supply of red orbs, a pile of crafting materials that you've hoovered up off the ground, and a place to actually hammer it all together, like a campsite or Tiberios the blacksmith back in Sparta. Your very first opportunity to pull this off will likely pop up during the second story quest. While making your way up the Ailouros River toward the city, keep an eye out for an armory chest containing the steel edge part. Once you have that, all you need to do is scavenge 3 rusty scraps from the immediate surroundings. Take your scrap metal and your blood orbs to the nearest upgrade station, slap the enhancement onto your spear, and enjoy your slightly less terrible damage output. The self-sufficient trophy will unlock right there. Welcome to the Enos Vineyard, where the local wine has a distinctly metallic aftertaste. To progress here, you need to find and destroy 4 fountains pumping out a highly suspicious red substance. Once you smash the 4th one and clear out the region's pillars, take a deep breath, heal up at the monuments, and drop down to the central chamber. Say hello to Alistair. This is the game's first capital B boss, and he is about to turn this Metroidvania into a bullet hell. Alistair comes at you with a long-reaching whip, rapid-fire projectile arcs, and homing orbs. The only silver lining here is that Deimos is actually present for the entire fight to help out with the damage. For Phase 1, do not panic. Just keep rolling through the absolute visual clutter until Alistair parks himself near the lower left corner. This is your cue to unleash several Sky Impalers in a row. Use any downtime to smash those floating homing orbs so they stop harassing you, and only use your ulti to heal when he is facing the opposite direction. When you get him down to 55% health, things get messy. He moves to the top of the screen and unleashes symmetrical arcs of projectiles. There are specific safe zones here. Stand at the top of the right set of stairs for the first wave, then immediately step just to the left of them for the second. After that, he starts dropping massive, high-damage globs of wine, or blood, whatever, from the ceiling and walls. Ironically, because he stays pinned in the corners during this attack, this is your best window to spam your Vanguard combo. Just keep one eye on the walls and roll through the horizontal globs before they take your head off. At 10% health, Alistair goes full coward mode and starts teleporting relentlessly. Do not get greedy. Chase him down, get a single attack in, and back off. Patience is the only way you survive this without seeing the game over screen 5 times. Ferment this guy into dust, collect your hard-earned platinum laurel, and claim the Bathed in Blood trophy.
Well, that was by far the weirdest thing we've ever fought.
Your next major hurdle takes place high up in Mount Tegedos. After scaling cliffs, dealing with a relentless supply of satyrs, and briefly mingling with a griffin named Adrastea, you will climb up, reunite with Deimos, and stumble directly into a Stymphalian nest to face the next big bird, Ponea. If you thought Ioki was a simple test of pattern recognition, Ponea is here to shatter that illusion. She has a spinning slash similar to the first bird, but this one creates a vacuum effect that actively drags Kratos and Deimos toward her. Do not try to run away. You actually need to sprint toward her and roll directly through her sprite to attack from behind. She also uses a 3-beam corner blast, which you can gracefully avoid by just standing directly underneath her. Her ground slam is back, but this time it finishes with a massive icy explosion. Do not get greedy here. Land 1 or 2 Vanguard combos and immediately back off, or you will eat a ton of damage and get slowed down for several seconds. At 75% and 25% health, Ponea decides she is tired of playing fair, flies off screen, and rains down a diagonal storm of icy plumes. Because the pattern is random, rolling is practically useless. Your absolute best strategy here is to stand your ground, frantically spam the parry button, and pray to the gods of RNG RNG that you deflect enough of them to survive. At 10% health, she pulls out her most infuriating trick. She blankets the arena in an icy mist that tanks your movement speed, then repeatedly dive bombs you, twice vertically, twice horizontally, finishing with a ground slam. Trying to dodge all of this while moving in slow motion is a special kind of torture. Stay patient, use your ulti during the beam attacks if you need a quick heal, and weather the storm. Wrench the bird, claim your new frost plume, and snag the Pecking Order trophy. After being unwillingly dropped into the sunken agora, you will be put on errand duty. Transport the spectral vapors to the 2 pillars on the left and right of the region to restore power to the central lift. Save at the nearest campsite, head to the elevator, and prepare to face an unspeakable eldritch terror, the Phylaki. Now, despite the terrifying Lovecraftian presentation, this is, without exaggeration, the easiest boss in the entire game. Yes, even easier than the tutorial Cyclopes. The Phylaki is essentially just a massive energy orb that drifts back and forth across the arena, summoning streams of tiles to slam into the elevator. While this looks like a chaotic visual mess, the attacks are clearly telegraphed by bright green spots on the ground a few seconds beforehand. Simply stand in the gaps between the spots, follow the boss's massive hitbox around the screen, and spam the absolute life out of your Sky Impaler combo and Dory techniques. Because it lacks any real close-range defenses, you can melt its health bar incredibly fast. Periodically, the boss will throw a tantrum, firing an energy beam straight down while moving faster. Just roll right through it and wait the 10 seconds it takes for it to calm down. At 75% health, it starts spawning ghastly remains, which are literally just green skeletons. Completely ignore them unless the boss drifts to the far side of the arena and you need something to hit. Also, at 75% and 50% health, the elevator will rise up the shaft for several seconds, giving you a perfect uncontested window to chug from your ulti if you actually manage to take damage. Do not let the mass of projectiles intimidate you. Pop this glowing beach ball, collect the desecrated slab, and claim the Evil Within trophy. You will almost certainly beat this one on your first try.
You know, I do listen to you. And I care what you have to say. I'm your big brother. Sometimes I listen, but I don't hear.
During your second visit to the Passage of Monuments, you will catch wind that our griffin friend Adrastea has roosted over in the port of Messenia. Take your newly upgraded victory sandals, kick down that annoying barrier in the middle of the region, and head all the way to the tower on the left. After a quick catch up with the bird, head back down to ground level where you will be unceremoniously launched into a fight with the Scolopendra, otherwise known as the giant serpent that has been staring at you on the PlayStation loading screen this entire time. Now, this boss fight is a bit of an oddity. Throughout the entire first phase, Kratos and Deimos will constantly yell at each other that the beast cannot be damaged. Completely ignore them. They are lying. You can absolutely damage it. The Scolopendra loves to slam into the middle of the arena and spray rubble everywhere. Your best strategy is to stand aggressively close to it while it's reared up spitting debris. Not only does this keep you safe from the falling rocks, but it lets you safely chain your combos. Watch out for its indefensible rushing slam from the right side of the screen. Your only real counter here is a perfectly timed double jump. As you whittle down its health, the serpent will forcefully drag you up the tower across multiple arenas. At 90% health, you get a spirit monument to help deal with its new horizontal shockwaves. At 70% health, you get a magic monument, meaning you have full permission to shamelessly spam Solar Storm or Hearth Rain to speed things up. Once you finally get this oversized worm down to 50% health, it drags you to the very top of the tower where you will find the Mirror of Archimedes. Double jump up and attack the support strut beneath it alongside Deimos until the mirror lowers. Pull the lever at the base, fire a straight up orbital laser into the beast, and turn it into fish fillet. For your trouble, you will bag a massive 7,500 red orbs, grab the gory dregs from the corpse, and unlock the Seasickness trophy.
The gods smile on us today.
Did you see when we hit it? And it went, and it was all...
You had the aim of Apollo.
And the stones of Ares.
The humility of Zeus.
After our friendly griffin Adrastea drops you off in the upper passage of monuments, you are sent on a slightly morbid scavenger hunt for evidence of Vasilis's archery practice. Head down to the archer's perch on the lower left side to find it. Following a rather disturbing revelation with Deimos, take the right exit and step into the next arena. Naturally, walking into a large, suspiciously empty room in this game means only one thing. It is time to fight another Stymphalian bird. Meet Apate. In keeping with the family tradition, she is significantly more complicated than her siblings. Paradoxically though, she is slightly less likely to instantly kill you. Her razor spin now bounces her wildly across the arena, which effectively makes it impossible to attack her safely during that animation. Her ground slam releases a nasty poison cloud and instantly spawns a hemlock plant. Do yourself a massive favor and chop that plant down the second you see it to avoid unnecessary poison damage. When you whittle her down to 25% health, Apate flies up and begins carpet bombing the screen with poison projectiles. Thankfully, unlike Ponia's random ice storm of absolute nonsense, this follows a strict left to right pattern, making it much easier to simply roll through. After that, she will try some high-speed corner projectiles. Again, do not bother trying to attack her while she does this. This leaves those toxic ground slams as your absolute best window for damage. The opening is short because she takes flight almost immediately after, but her sprite's hitbox is massive during this animation, meaning you don't have to waste time running right up to her beak to land a hit. Just keep rolling through the poison clouds, punish the ground slams, and eventually you will drive this foul away. Pick up your brand new deadly plume and watch the Wing and a Prayer trophy pop.
Spartans!
Never on our backs!
Spartans!
Never left behind!
Spartans!
Always united!
Right in the middle of the sanctuary, you will stumble upon 3 fog-covered archways. To unlock them, you need the 3 Stymphalian plumes that you forcibly acquire from the major bird bosses throughout the story. Behind these archways lie the Muse Chambers. This is a grueling set of 9 challenges divided into 3 distinct flavors: Sandals for platforming time trials, the Owl for complex puzzle rooms, and Swords for enemy combat gauntlets. Since we are going for the platinum, you have to complete all 9. Now, I am not going to bore you by reading the instruction manual for every single room, but be prepared for some incredibly tight timers. The time trials demand near perfect platforming with 0 room for error, the puzzles will have you frantically throwing your weapons around before the clock runs out, and the combat gauntlets require aggressive, unapologetic crowd control. Once you have survived all 9 trials and looted your massively rewarding supply chests, return to the oracle at the top of the room. All 9 Muse statues will light up, generating a wind current to lift you up to the drifting spire, and the amusing trophy is finally yours. Deep down in the Foundry of Invention, while searching for Daedalus's workshop, the game decides to throw in the one thing every good action-adventure truly needs: a mandatory instant death chase sequence. You will find yourself running for your life across a literal river of lava with the massive Metalon bull hot on your heels. You need to be fast here. Perfectly execute your jumps across the platforms and chains, take the zipline up ahead, and roll through the door at the bottom. But instead of safety, you are immediately thrown into a boss fight against the Metalon calf. This mechanical cow loves to spam unblockable charges. Simply roll right through them, attack it from behind, and immediately dodge backward before it donkey kicks you in the teeth. When you get it down to 80% health, it becomes dazed. This is your cue to unleash every Dory technique you have. After that, it starts jumping off the walls to slam into the floor, leaving a trail of burning oil. Just stand directly underneath its trajectory to safely get behind it and keep stabbing. When the calf hits 50% health, the big bull from the chase sequence violently bursts through the wall to join the party, filling the screen with fireballs. Ignore the big guy for now. Focus entirely on finishing off the calf, because doing so instantly replenishes your health and magic. Once the calf is scrap metal, run up and stand aggressively close to the bull. If you position yourself right underneath its chin, its fireball attacks will arc completely over your head, allowing you to just spam your Vanguard combo until it dies. Please do not ask me how a wooden spear is doing this much damage to a giant robot. Grab the bronze cog from the calf, claim your heavy metal trophy, and keep in mind you will have to backtrack later to get the other cog from the bull's backside. During your second, completely mandatory visit to the Barren Steppe, things take a slight detour. You will stumble into a cult ritual, get briefly imprisoned, break yourself out, and snag the very stylish lion coat. But before you can leave, the cult decides to introduce you to their idol, the Opportunist. This boss is massive. In fact, he is so big that he spends the entire fight looming in the background, meaning you can only damage the head and the giant hands resting in the foreground. The Opportunist kicks things off with claw swipes that leave cursed flames on the ground, an unblockable hand slam, and a fan of projectiles shot straight from its eye. It gets chaotic fast, but thankfully you don't have to break your brain controlling two brothers at once here. Let Deimos do his thing while you focus on attacking whichever hand is currently closest to the ground. Parry the I-beams and roll away from everything else. Just keep in mind that the ledges are not safe from the claw swipe flames. At 75% health, the big guy gets tired and collapses. This is your prime opportunity to drink from the ult. You can attack his head here, but for some reason it takes heavily reduced damage, so you are better off just healing. When he wakes up, he covers the entire floor in cursed flames, so immediately jump onto a ledge. He will then start firing 3 massive lasers in a row. Just stand carefully between the blast zones. At 50% health, the Opportunist collapses again, gets back up, and decides to turn the arena into a geometry test by firing ricocheting projectiles everywhere. Your absolute best strategy here is to stand your ground and parry these projectiles directly back into his head. Do not stop to heal unless you are literally one hit away from death. This phase is a strict DPS race. Send this forefather packing, collect the skull fragment, and the horsing around trophy is yours. Next, make your way to the western section of the Ailouros Gorge, save your game at the final campsite, and follow the trail of corpses across the bridge. It is time for the final boss of the main story, the chimerical monstrosity known as Ailouros. Despite being the grand finale, Ailouros is surprisingly manageable once you figure out its fatal flaw. It absolutely refuses to turn around while attacking. The boss will spam unblockable charges, electric ground slams, and stomps that leave explosive electric landmines around the arena. Do not even bother trying to parry. Your entire strategy here is to constantly roll past its attacks, get behind it, and aggressively empty your stamina bar with your Dory techniques. You will probably take some damage, but hold off on using the ult. At 50% health, Ailouros gets stunned and drops a massive pile of health and magic orbs to fully replenish your meters. It will then start throwing a giant electric sphere across the bridge. The trick here is simply to stand as close to the boss as possible. The sphere will arc harmlessly over your head. At 10% health, the boss drops another wave of orbs before leaping into the background to charge up at the lightning statue. The bridge will be covered in lightning strikes, and the statue will fire homing electric spheres at you. It looks like absolute chaos, but just keep moving and burn through whatever magic you have left by spamming Solar Storm to finish it off quickly. Slay the beast, claim the Thunderstruck trophy, and watch the tragic conclusion to Kratos and Deimos' search. If only we had gotten here a little sooner. With Ailouros finally dead, the reality of the situation sets in. The game strips away the combat and the mechanics, leaving you with a somber cutscene where Kratos and Deimos prepare their fallen comrade Vasilis for the long journey home. This trophy gets its name from the famous Spartan proverb regarding their shields: come back with it or on it. From a gameplay perspective, this is the easiest and most mechanically simple trophy in the entire game. All you have to do is hold the left directional stick for about a minute as you slowly walk back through Laconia towards Sparta. Narratively, however, it is a surprisingly heavy moment. As you make your slow trek back, the various characters you have encountered and helped throughout your journey will silently join your procession. Keep holding left until you reach the city gates and deliver Vasilis to his parents. The final cutscene will play out, your duty as a Spartan will be done, and the with it or on it trophy will unlock.
He used his training and fought to his last breath.
No matter his flaws, he was still a Spartan.
I hate this.
He died on his feet. A warrior's death. It's all we can ask for. This is my shield. I bear before me into battle. It is not mine alone.
It protects my brother on my left. It protects my city. I will never let my brother out of its shadow, nor my city out of its shelter. I will die with my shield before me, facing the enemy. This is my shield. I bear before me into battle.
It wouldn't be a God of War game without a grueling post-game gauntlet. Welcome to the Trials of the E-Force. To start, interact with the ancient tome on the left side of the gallery. You will face 9 distinct challenges with various bonus criteria for extra loot, but do not worry, you only need to complete the base requirements to earn the trophy. I highly recommend saving these trials for the very end of your playthrough. With maximum health, magic, and fully upgraded gear, you will absolutely steamroll through most of them. But be warned, for some baffling reason, you cannot cancel out of a trial once you select it. Quitting to the main menu deletes unsaved progress, and dying just resets the trial. Once you lock in, you are trapped until you win. So double check your selection, complete all 9 trials, and claim your battle-tested trophy. Since we completed the Muse Chambers and ascended to the Drifting Spire, we make our way to the leftmost shaft just past the Pinnacle campsite. Step through the exit and prepare for a highly anticipated family reunion with your avian hecklers, the Stymphalian Trio. Now, fighting Ioki, Ponia, and Apate all at the same time sounds like an absolute controller-smashing nightmare. But mercifully, the developers took pity on us. Their health pools are heavily nerfed, and they technically fight you one at a time. You start against Apate, who just relentlessly spams her ground slams, while Ponia occasionally throws some half-hearted icicles from the background. Slay Apate, and you are rewarded with a full health and magic refill. Next up is Ponia. While Ioki tries to annoy you with random dive bombs, you can actually kill Ponia in seconds by just attacking her from behind with your Dory techniques during her razor spin. Finally, Ioki drops down. She has absolutely no backup, the most basic moveset of the 3, and all her previous vulnerabilities. Slay the last bird, revel in the immense satisfaction of knowing you never have to look at these overgrown pigeons ever again, and claim the summit trophy. Midway through your journey, the Cryptic will tip you off about a treasure map stolen by the Catergaries, a pair of enhanced fawn hunters camping out in the Splintered Peak. Make your way to the top of the region, near the armored remains and the red orb chest. You'll find these 2 hunters guarding their spoils. If your gear is well upgraded, they aren't too bad, just make sure to light the braziers in the arena to improve your visibility and movement. Once the room is lit, spam your strongest Dory techniques and finish them off with Solar Storm magic. Loot the map of Crisis from the chest and head back to the treehouse in the Laconian woods. Trade the map back to the Cryptic like a standard artifact to complete the side quest. You'll be handsomely rewarded with 2,500 red orbs and, crucially, the Vigorous Honey, an item you will absolutely need later for the Like a Charm trophy. Turn it in, get paid, and claim the Rightful Owners trophy. Your traversal abilities in Sons of Sparta revolve around the bust of Lycurgus, which you receive early in your journey. Throughout the main campaign, you will unlock 7 out of 8 total bust powers through story-mandated cutscenes. If you are just playing for the plot, you would think this is basically unmissable. However, the game hides the final 8th power in a secret optional room on the Isle of Aiaya. If you do not actively seek out this hidden location, you will be locked out of the Bust Out trophy. Make sure to detour to the Isle of Aiaya, scour the area for the hidden chamber, and solve the final puzzle within to claim your last ability. Once that 8th power is added to your arsenal, the trophy is yours. After you put the Falaki out of its misery, you will get a tip from the Cryptic at the next campsite. That energy surge has reached various graveyards across Laconia, raising the dead. Your task is simple. Hunt down every graveyard marked with a blue sword icon on your map and wipe out the waves of spawning remains. Now, do not panic if you cannot finish this immediately. The story locks you out of certain regions, so you technically cannot pop this trophy until the postgame. Once the credits roll, head back to the Sunken Agora. Go to that central lift shaft and pull the lever 3 times, raising it, lowering it, and lowering it again. This cycle exposes the hidden mosaic floor where you fought the Falaki. The moment you land on that tile mosaic, the Cryptic trophy will pop. You will also spot a dimensional rift on the right. Step through it into the Field of Bones to collect the mystical elixir and claim your reward. After you take down the Ipitane and finish the main story, the cult you previously dismantled is trying to make a comeback. You will find them setting up shop in areas that were previously empty. Consider it your civic duty to go in and shut them down for good. Note that this side quest is sneaky. It will not appear on your map until you physically stumble into one of the 3 initial cultist camps. Each camp you clear drops a shattered tablet. Once you have all 3, they fuse into the ritual tablet. This is your key to clearing the heavy mist blocking the archways in the barren steppe. Head to the rightmost archway, located east of the passage campsite, and use the tablet to gain entry. Fight your way up through the building to confront the cult leader. This guy is essentially a hybrid of a cultist chief and a fanatic, meaning he can hit you with both fire and curse status effects simultaneously. Don't overthink it. He goes down with only slightly more effort than the standard enemies you've been fighting all game. Defeat him, complete the cost of devotion, claim the totem of vengeance, and the false prophet trophy is yours. Scattered across the map of Laconia, you will find the sacred olive trees. These aren't just scenery, they are shrines dedicated to the 6 deities assisting you, and completing their challenges is essential for maximizing your Spartan's potential. You will see them marked on your world map, but don't be surprised if you can't reach some of them immediately. Many of these groves are gated behind specific traversal abilities you'll unlock later in the story, so plan on doing some backtracking. Once you find a tree, interacting with it triggers an enemy gauntlet. These vary in difficulty based on where they are located, but keep in mind that the early game trees are often your toughest fights since you haven't fully leveled up your gear yet. Every time you clear a grove, you earn a generous bounty of red orbs and, more importantly, a sacred olive. Take these back to their corresponding temples to permanently boost your strength, defense, health, magic, or even unlock extra slots for your Belt of Tyche. Completing every single one of these combat trials across the map will unlock the No Olive Branch trophy. Once you emerge from the sunken agora with the bust power of Phos, you are ready to start hunting for the Chelidones. These are mythical owls held captive by a dangerous new enemy type, the Sisters of Song. You will find these caged birds in corner rooms throughout Kythera Island and the shores of Elefonisos. Every time you find a Sister of Song guarding a cage, you know what to do. Kill the siren, free the bird. Unlike most side quests that give you a single reward at the end, these owls offer massive incentives throughout the entire hunt. Once you start freeing them, head to the topmost room on Kythera Island. There you will find the Owl Door. This room contains a series of special archways that unlock as you free more birds, and behind each one is a treasure trove of chests packed with upgrades and red orbs. To save yourself some trekking, make sure to utilize the bluff crossing of Olympus. It's located just 1 square down and 1 square right of the Owl Door, making it your fastest way to zip back and forth while you're out collecting these cages. Once you free the final owl, return here to claim your ultimate prize and the Song of the Six trophy. The Blessings of Olympus are your ultimate rewards for completing the Honor side quest. To earn these, you must provide 7 total offerings at each temple, 4 sacred olives and 3 rare plants. The olives are earned through the combat gauntlets discussed in the No Olive Branch trophy, so you won't fully complete this until the postgame. The plants, however, are found at sacred monuments tucked away across Laconia. These are mercifully combat-free. Once you find one, the reward is yours. To find these locations, keep an eye out for vermilion globes on your map. Activating them will reveal nearby points of interest, but do not expect a quick trip. You will need to backtrack extensively, as most of these monuments are tucked behind obstacles or sealed off by gear you won't possess until late in the game. Beyond the trophy itself, these plants are non-negotiable for progression, as you need them to unlock the powerful secondary techniques for your Solar Sling, Evergreen Flame, Lunar Blade, and Harvest Glaive. Collect all 7 offerings, finalize the Honor quest at the temples, and earn the Gift of the Gods trophy. If you want to stop wandering aimlessly, you need to find the vermilion globes. These crimson spheres are hidden in every region of Laconia. Activating one for a small fee of 250 to 1,000 red orbs will instantly populate your map with every sacred olive tree, sacred monument, and side quest checklist for that area. Anything you haven't started or reached yet will be marked as a question mark, giving you a perfect roadmap for your 100% completion run. While a few specific globes cost significantly more in exchange for essential power-ups, this specific achievement only tracks the 21 main globes. You'll naturally earn plenty of orbs to cover these costs just by playing. Now, there is a bit of a quirk, or perhaps a gift, to keep in mind. The globe on the Isle of Aiea is notoriously glitchy. It has a habit of deactivating without actually removing the map data, allowing you to pay that 250 orb fee over and over again. Each interaction registers as a new activation toward your total. So if you find yourself 1 globe short, or just want to speed up the process, you can exploit this little loop to pop the Search High and Low trophy early, even before you reach the final post-game exclusive globe. Use it if you like, or don't. Either way, once you hit that count of 21, the trophy is yours. Deep in the stone hollows, you'll find a haunting sight, a battalion of warriors frozen in stone. This is your gateway to the unseen horror side quest, but do not bother trying to solve it early. You cannot progress here until you have acquired the Harvest Glaive. Once that weapon is in your arsenal, return to the Petrified Soldiers. Look up, strike the cog on the ceiling, and use the descending vine to vault yourself onto the upper left platform. This opens up the western half of the region, where you must track down and strike 4 hidden hatchery locks. You can trigger these locks with any attack in your repertoire. The Stonewalled trophy will pop the exact moment you strike the 4th and final lock, signaling that the Gorgon Door has been unsealed. But don't walk away just yet. If you are aiming for a true 100% completion run, step through that door. A nasty optional boss is waiting for you in the darkness, and you won't want to miss it as a true completionist. This is one of the more poignant moments in your journey. During your second mandatory visit to the Barren Steppe, you are captured by the cult and eventually come across the gear of the missing Vasily, specifically the Lion Coat. However, your task isn't finished when the credits roll. Once you have completed the main storyline, make your way back toward the entrance of Sparta. You will find Amara waiting at the bottom of the long slope leading into the city. Simply approach her to trigger a final emotional cutscene where Kratos and Deimos return the coat to her. It is a quiet, character-driven conclusion that provides a bit of closure for our Spartan warriors. Once that scene concludes, the Lionheart trophy is yours. During your fight with the Scolopendra, things go spectacularly wrong. A stray blast from the Mirror of Archimedes smashes open the Cyclopes prison in the Passage of Monuments, setting these monsters loose across all of Laconia. Shortly after, you'll run into the Cryptic, who will essentially task you with acting as the region's warden. They want these beasts hunted down. Thankfully, you won't be flying blind. These escapees are clearly marked on your world map. To initiate the battles, look for cavern entrances in their marked locations and interact with them using the prompt on screen. A fair warning, these aren't your average grunts. Some of these Cyclopes are absolute tanks that will tear through your health bar if you aren't careful. If you find yourself getting overwhelmed, don't feel ashamed to back off and save these hunts for the post-game once you've maxed out your gear and upgrades. Clear out the prison's breaks and secure the All Eyes on Thee trophy. Your mobility reaches its peak once you get down the second and final upgrade for your victory sandals in the Passage of Monuments. With this speed, you can now smash through the barriers that have been blocking your path throughout Laconia. Behind some of these barriers, you'll find strange hovering rifts. Step into one and you'll be thrust into a battle against a serpent head cluster. You are facing 5 of these serpents at once. It is not necessarily a hard fight, but it can be incredibly irritating because they spend half the battle slithering just out of reach. Do not waste time chasing them around the arena. Just stand your ground and spam your solar sling. It is easily the most effective tool for clipping these things while they are hovering away from you. The payoff is well worth the annoyance. Beyond the massive bounty of red orbs hidden behind every broken barrier, these battles drop scales of serpent. These are rare crafting materials you need to forge one of the best Gouri in the game. Tackle these rifts as soon as you unlock the upgraded sandals, and you will secure the Come to a Head trophy in no time. Sons of Sparta features a sprawling collection of lore items, categorized into 5 distinct types. Whether you're reading ancient history carved in stone, or learning surprisingly deep facts about the local fruit, these collectibles offer a great way to flesh out the world. And they net you a nice 250 red orbs for every single piece you find. Do not stress if your collection feels incomplete for most of the game. You physically cannot finish this set until 2 things happen. First, you must complete the Evil Within quest to acquire the final bust power of foes, which is required to interact with the last few types of objects. Second, the very last piece of lore is tucked away in the final third of the Barren Steppe. You cannot access this area until you have completed the False Prophet side quest and cleared the path through the mist. Because of these story gates, you are looking at a full post-game completion for this trophy. Once you have reached that final area in the Barren Steppe and snagged the last piece, you'll earn the Taurus trophy. Across the 21 regions of Laconia, you will find glowing red monoliths. These are your targets for the reduced to rubble feat, and the key to earning the Historian trophy. Whenever you find one, take your Dory to it and shatter it. You'll be rewarded with a healthy stack of red orbs right off the bat. If you've invested in the Spartan Heart or the Emblem of Fortune, those payouts get even better. Each monolith also drops a shard of the Lexicon. Take these back to the monument at the southeastern end of the Passage of Monuments. As you return the fragments, the game fills in the blanks of your codex with deep, mythologically accurate lore about the Olympians, Titans, and Primordials. Beyond the history lesson and the mountains of red orbs, completing this quest nets you 3 powerful Gouri, which you'll absolutely need for the Like a Charm trophy. While you can technically pop this trophy before the credits roll, remember that you won't be able to turn in every single shard until you've reached the postgame. Keep smashing those monoliths and fill out that history book. Hidden away on the Isle of Aiaia, accessible via the lower western end of the port of Messenia, you will find the sorceress Circe. She is your primary source for crafting high-tier Gouri, but she isn't doing this for free. She wants you to hunt down 9 Ailouros idols scattered across mainland Laconia. Don't go looking for these too early. The idols are hidden behind illusory walls, and you won't even be able to reveal them until you've unlocked the Otos power. Even then, this is a slow burn. The final idol doesn't show up until about 75% of the way through the main story, so expect this side quest to accompany you for most of your playthrough. Patience is a virtue here, but the payoff is substantial. Beyond unlocking the trophy, returning these idols to Circe opens up some of the most potent crafting recipes in the game, and as a final wholesome reward, once you've returned them all, you can actually interact with the idols to pet the cats. Keep an eye out for any suspicious walls, keep Otos ready, and bring those idols back to the witch to finalize the quest. Your Spartan Dory and Spartan Aspis are more than just weapons. They are modular tools of war. Throughout Laconia, there are over 24 alternate components, or parts, that you can scavenge, loot, or trade for. These aren't just for show. Some of these components provide massive tactical advantages, offering unique passive buffs or elemental properties that can drastically change how you handle combat. You can trade for these parts by tracking down specific merchants, like the blacksmith in Sparta's armory or the wandering Cryptic, who will often accept rare materials in exchange for top-tier gear. Because some of these items are locked behind late-game areas or specific post-game side quests, you won't be able to finish your collection until your victory lap after the credits roll. That said, I strongly advise you to hunt down and equip the best parts as soon as you find them. Having the right build for your playstyle makes the mid-game boss fights significantly easier. Keep an eye out for hidden chests and keep your trade materials stocked. Collect every single part for both your spear and shield to earn the Panoply Man trophy. The artifacts in Sons of Sparta are split into 6 distinct categories, each tied to its own side quest. Do not expect them to do anything magical on their own. They are essentially glorified fetch quest items that you need to haul back to the Cryptic treehouse in the Laconian woods. For every single artifact you return to these rightful owners, you'll earn 100 red orbs. If you track down all of them, that's 3,000 red orbs total. More importantly, finishing a complete set rewards you with a rare material used for enhancing your gear parts, which is vital for your endgame build. Be warned, these are easily the most frustrating collectibles to hunt down. They are designed to blend perfectly into the environment, hidden in dark nooks or camouflaged by textures. You will need to keep your eyes peeled and your curiosity piqued. If you find yourself stuck, slow down your traversal and scan the room. If it looks slightly out of place, it's probably an artifact. Return every last piece to the treehouse to claim the Opportunist trophy. The skill system is the heart of your progression in Sons of Sparta. At every campsite you rest at, you can spend your hard-earned red orbs to unlock new techniques or augment your current abilities. Let's be clear, this is not a cheap investment. This will be the single largest sink for your red orbs by a landslide. While some skills are nice to have, others are absolutely essential, fundamentally changing your combat flow and survivability. You might be tempted to save your orbs for gear, but you'll want to prioritize your skill tree early and often. Even if you are diligent about clearing every enemy and breaking every crate, don't expect to finish this list until your post-game cleanup. It is a long-term goal that will keep you invested in optimizing your Spartan until the very final skill is learned. Keep clearing those regions, prioritize your most used techniques, and work toward unlocking every single augmentation to claim deep learning. The Gouri are your primary source of power in Sons of Sparta, functioning much like rings in a classic RPG. You'll equip them in the Belt of Tyche, which you unlock toward the end of the Stone Hollows. You start with just 2 slots, but as we covered in No Olive Branch, you must offer your hard-earned olives at the Temple of Demeter to expand your capacity and maximize your build. Do not expect to fill your belt quickly. This is, without a doubt, the most time-consuming collection in the entire game. You won't find many of these just lying around in chests. Most of them are rewards for finishing the various side quests we've been tracking throughout your journey. Because so many Gouri are tied to these specific, often post-game objectives, this will inevitably be one of the final milestones you hit. Take your time, finish those side stories, and keep that belt loaded with the most potent augmentations you can find. Once you've secured every last one, the Like a Charm trophy and everything that follows is yours.
Graveyard's paid off.
We did it to protect Sparta. No reward is required.
Of course not.
From the first swing of the Dory to the final offering at the temples, our path through Laconia has been a test of skill, patience, and true Spartan grit. We've hunted the escapees, unraveled the history of the Olympians, and restored peace to the broken archways of the steppe. We have conquered every trial, uncovered every secret, and proven ourselves worthy of the title. With the final Gouri in your belt and every challenge laid to rest, the Platinum Trophy, Duty, and Honor is ours. We have achieved 100% completion in Sons of Sparta. Our journey through Laconia has reached its end. We have risen from a warrior seeking to prove his worth to the architect of a new peace, leaving no stone unturned and no challenge unmet. We have mastered the Dory, refined our Spartan Aspis, and etched our name into the annals of this world. Before we set the controller down, if this video helped you on your road to the Platinum, or if you enjoyed our journey, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Your support is what fuels the channel and helps us keep creating content for our next big adventure. Enjoy that well-earned sense of accomplishment. We've certainly earned it. Until next time, keep your blade sharp and your aim true.